Lately, I've heard a lot going around that the Book of Boba Fett isn't as good as The Mandalorian, or the Book of Boba Fett isn't what we promised, or anything like that. Well, I'm going to try to give some insight into what kind of literature these reflect on, or what kind of film styles these reflect on, to see if it gives you a better understanding of what the shows are about and why they are so different. Welcome back, everybody. I am Gerald, and I am a Star Wars fanatic. If you want to be a Star Wars fanatic too, go ahead and hit that subscribe button now and turn on your notifications. Stay up to date on all my Star Wars releases. As of right now, we're concentrating on the Book of Boba Fett, and we will be moving on from there as new stuff comes out. Also, leave a comment for this video, and I'll pick one comment to highlight in my next video and give you a shout out. So please don't forget to do that. But with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get on with today's topic. And that is the difference in the styles of writing between The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. Since The Mandalorian came out first, we'll go ahead and start with that one. It was pretty quick that everybody understood that The Mandalorian was based off certain samurai traditions, samurai shows, stuff like that, like Lone Wolf and Cub, that kind of thing, where it's just a man and his child going around trying to make ends meet and trying to become something. And if you aren't familiar with the samurai shows of lore, then you'd probably recognize it more as a spaghetti western, where there's a different adventure every week. Shows like The Man with No Face, where Din Djarin didn't take off his helmet for a long time. And it falls into the same category, but the old westerns still borrowed from the samurai traditions. Now, the spaghetti westerns and the samurai traditions are the type of lore that The Mandalorian borrowed from. But what it really came down to in the style it was made were the serials of the past. And what that is a weekly serial where every week it's a different story that seemed unattached, but it added up in the end, in the grand scheme of things. Shows like Flash Gordon, Kung Fu with Kwai Chang Caine, who was not Chinese, by the way, The Incredible Hulk of the 1970s, stuff like that, where you had different stories every week, but they all added up eventually to the main story. A lot of the complaints about this is there's a lot of filler episodes, but all episodes are a mean to the end result. Even the Frog Lady story had a tie-in to the main story. The New Republic letting Din and Grogu go without arresting Mando. That adds into his story, and why later on we get to see him roaming freely, assuming that we do get to see that through the New Republic. So that's the type of show The Mandalorian is, based off of the old samurai shows, the spaghetti westerns, and weekly serials like Flash Gordon and stuff like that. And if you remember, George Lucas even said he tried to get the rights to Flash Gordon to do a type of serial show instead of Star Wars. So they denied him the rights, and he went on to make Star Wars, and that's how we get this amazing franchise. Thank you, George Lucas, and thank you, whoever owned the rights to Flash Gordon, for not giving them up. And after I finish comparing the two types of storytelling between The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, we'll go over which one is better, if either are better. So, let's go on into the Book of Boba Fett. So, the Book of Boba Fett, we were told early on that it was going to be different, that it was going to be as good as The Mandalorian, it's going to over-deliver, all this stuff. But I think everybody expected it to be like The Mandalorian with the weekly serials, a couple fill-in episodes, but it wasn't. The Book of Boba Fett is actually based off of a different type of genre, where the other one was samurais and westerns. This one's based off of mafia shows and movies. Movies like The Godfather, Goodfellas, shows like The Sopranos. It's not a serial type of show. It's not a new adventure every week. All episodes follow the main story. Yes, even the flashbacks. The flashbacks show how the person gets to where they are now. If you watch the Godfather movies, you'll see that they aren't in line. One will be in one time period, one will be in the past. And that's how these things go, and it shows how they came to be. Shakespeare did the same thing with the Richard II series and Henry IV, where it all mattered. It went back in time to show how Queen Elizabeth I came to be the monarch of England. She was Henry VIII's daughter. And at the time that this was written, that Shakespeare was writing this, it was illegal to write about usurpation of the throne. Only Shakespeare got away with it because he was glorifying Elizabeth I, and she appreciated that. Now with the Book of Boba Fett, I'm not saying it's Shakespearean by any means, but he does usurp a throne. along just the same way as Henry the Fourth and all that kind of stuff. But like I said, the Book of Boba Fett is not a serial type of show. There's not a new adventure every week. It's all one story. And it plays out a little different than a serial would. A serial's all bang, 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 bang. Starts off slow for a second and then bang, 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 bang. And all episodes follow the main story of a serial as well, but they eventually blend into it. The complaints of this type of story is that it's slow or there isn't enough action. And that may be true, but this isn't a film. It's more like a series of novels, one of my subscribers had mentioned, and it makes a lot of sense. Everything isn't revealed in the beginning of the first novel. Or there'd be no reason to read more than a chapter or two of the first novel, and there'd be no reason to write the rest of that novel or the subsequent following novels. See what I mean? This isn't the same type of show as The Mandalorian. It can be as good as The Mandalorian in the eyes of the makers, but it's not the same. And if you were going into the Book of Boba Fett expecting a John Wick type of Mandalorian series, then I'm sorry you were disappointed, but while they were filming, they even said there's changes. There's differences in this and The Mandalorian. This is more like a mafia style. This is a Don movie. And that's what Boba Fett is. He's a Don. And he's reflecting back on his life to see how he got to that point. Even to the point where he was ready to give up his weapon and give up his armor. But things happened that brought him into the light, that made him want to take over, to right things that had been wronged. Another difference between The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett is that in the Book of Boba Fett you get a deeper insight into who the character is. Yes, we learned about Din Djarin, we learned about who he was, his past, and all that stuff, but not a lot of time was spent in the past to show us how he became what he was. It showed us that he was brought up by a Mandalorian and a group of Mandalorians called Children of the Watch, but it didn't go into a whole lot of detail, where the Book of Boba Fett is going into a lot of detail for a reason, to tell us why he's doing what he's doing. We don't get a lot of why in the Din Djarin story. Well, not yet at least. But what you guys really want to know is which one I think is better than the other one. That really doesn't matter. I'm really a nobody, but I can't really say which one's better than the other, because if you ask me, like, what's better, Flash Gordon or Clash of the Titans, I can't tell you. They're different genres. They're different types of storytelling, both good, both equally good, just different. You can't go into Clash of the Titans expecting to see what Flash Gordon produces. You expect to see Clash of the Titans. And that's it. I think everybody goes into Star Wars with this preconceived notion that they're going to get exactly the same kind of storytelling that they've got in every other movie. Well, they're not. I mean, that's one thing that prequel haters had a hard time getting over, is that it was a different type of storytelling than what we were used to in the original trilogy. And I think some of it can be said with the same thing with the sequels. It's a different type of storytelling. If you go into it looking at it like it's completely different but still related, then it makes it a little bit easier. Like, okay, Clash of the Titans, the first one of the remakes, it was pretty decent. And then we had the second one, which was not as good. None of them compared to the classic, though, but equally good. Just different types of storytelling. Now, I could use a more modern example of that, and that would be the Matrix Resurrection. I didn't go into that expecting to see the original Matrix movies. If I wanted to see that, I'd just go back and watch them. I expected something different, a different type of story, something that would keep my mind intrigued, and I got it. Was it the best Matrix movie made? Yeah, probably not. Nothing tops the first one, but it was still interesting and enough to keep my attention and enough to make me think a little bit. And it was a little different enough where it kept me going, and it made me want them to make another one. So look at Star Wars like that. Like, it's different types of storytelling between different eras of Star Wars and different sections of the galaxy even. You're not going to get the same story from Coruscant, or type of story from Coruscant, that you're going to get from the Chiss Ascendancy. It's going to be different. So if you're looking for me to tell you which one's better and which one's worse, that's not up to me. That's up to you. That's why you're an individual. You are able to make up your own mind. And you can leave a comment below as to which one you like better, or if you see it the same way I do, as they're different enough that you can't really compare them. Okay, so at this time, I'm going to go ahead and give a shout out to the comment that I picked from the last video, and it comes from Gothic Hangman. And he said, "This series is unfurling. We're starting to see more how the pieces are configuring. Had we known all of Boba's reasonings from the get-go, what would be the point of watching?" And that's exactly what I've been saying in this video, is that it makes sense to take it a little bit slower at first. But I guarantee this last episode that everybody's raving about, that's probably not even the best that we're going to see yet. Just wait. It's going to culminate into something fantastic. But like I said in the beginning, if you're new here, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications. Stay up to date on all my Star Wars content. I know I've been concentrating on the Book of Boba Fett and Mandalorians a lot lately, but I will get to the other stuff here soon. I just want to ride this wave because I love Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett's my favorite character, and Mandalorians are my favorite culture, so of course I'm going to stick with that as long as I can, but I will get into the Kenobi stuff when it comes out and the Ahsoka stuff when it comes out. So just hit that subscribe button, show your support, and give me a big thumbs up. Leave a comment as well, because I will pick one of you to highlight in my next video. And thank you for watching. And remember, this is the way, the only way.